Caleb at 85, a faith that never grew old. Joshua 14:6-15. What if I told you that one of the greatest heroes in the Bible achieved his greatest victory at 85 years old? Today, the world often tells us that our best years are behind us. It says that when we grow older, we should lower our expectations, stop dreaming, and settle for a quiet life. Many people believe that age limits purpose, but the Bible tells a completely different story. Today we're going to meet a man whose faith grew stronger with time, a man who waited 45 years for God's promise and never stopped believing. His name was Caleb. Caleb's story isn't just about an elderly man receiving an inheritance. It's about unwavering faith, patient endurance, and trusting God's promises no matter how long the wait. If you've ever wondered whether God has forgotten you, if you've ever felt like your prayers have gone unanswered, if you've ever believed that it's too late for God to use your life, then this message is for you. 45 years before Joshua chapter 14, Moses sent 12 spies into the Promised Land. Their mission was simple: explore the land that God had already promised to Israel. For 40 days they traveled through Canaan. They saw fertile valleys, flowing rivers, magnificent vineyards, and cities surrounded by mighty walls. They even carried back a cluster of grapes so large that 2 men had to carry it on a pole. It truly was a land flowing with milk and honey. But there was one problem. The land was filled with giants, powerful warriors, fortified cities, enemies that seemed impossible to defeat. When the 12 spies returned, 10 of them focused only on the obstacles. They said, "We can't attack those people. They are stronger than we are." Fear spread quickly through the camp. The people forgot God's promises because they were looking at their problems. But 2 men saw the exact same giants and reached a completely different conclusion: Joshua and Caleb. Caleb stood before the people and boldly declared, "We should go up and take possession of the land, for we can certainly do it." Notice something remarkable. Caleb didn't deny the existence of the giants. He simply believed that God was greater than the giants. Faith is not pretending your problems don't exist. Faith is believing that God's power is greater than every problem you face. Sadly, Israel listened to fear instead of faith. Because they refused to trust God, they wandered in the wilderness for 40 years. Imagine what that meant for Caleb. He had done the right thing. He had believed God, yet he still had to spend 40 years wandering because of other people's unbelief. Sometimes life feels unfair. Sometimes faithful people suffer because of the choices of others. Yet Caleb never became bitter. He never blamed God. He never gave up. Instead, he kept believing. Year after year, season after season, decade after decade, every sunrise reminded him of God's promise. Every sunset ended with the same hope in his heart. 45 years passed. Think about that. 45 years. Many of us struggle to wait 45 days. Some struggle to wait 45 minutes. But Caleb waited 45 years, still believing, still trusting, still expecting God to keep his word. Perhaps you've been waiting too. Waiting for healing. Waiting for restoration in your family, waiting for a breakthrough, waiting for a job, waiting for God to answer a prayer that seems to have been forgotten. Caleb's story reminds us that God's delays are never God's denials. Just because the promise takes time doesn't mean God has changed his mind. Finally, after years of wandering and years of battles, Israel entered the Promised Land. At 85 years old, Caleb stood before Joshua. He could have asked for a peaceful valley. He could have chosen rich farmland. He could have looked for a comfortable place to enjoy the rest of his life. Instead, Caleb made one of the boldest requests in the entire Bible. He said, "Now give me this hill country that the Lord promised me that day." Imagine hearing those words from an 85-year-old man. He wasn't asking for comfort. He wasn't asking for retirement. He wasn't asking for an easy life. He was asking for the hardest mountain. Why? Because the mountain was still occupied by the Anakites, the same giants that had terrified Israel 45 years earlier. Most people would have avoided that place. Caleb wanted it, not because he believed in himself, but because he believed in God. Listen carefully. Caleb didn't say, "I am strong enough." He said, "The Lord helping me, I will drive them out." That is true faith. Faith does not depend on our strength. Faith depends on God's faithfulness. Today, your mountain may look different. Your mountain may be sickness, it may be depression, it may be anxiety, it may be financial struggles, it may be a broken relationship, it may be disappointment after years of unanswered prayers. Whatever your mountain is, remember this. The same God who stood with Caleb stands with you. The same God who fulfilled his promise after 45 years is still faithful today. Your waiting has not been wasted. God has been shaping your character while preparing your promise. Every challenge has been strengthening your faith. Every delay has been teaching you to depend on him. Caleb teaches us 3 unforgettable lessons. First, never stop trusting God's promises. People may forget, circumstances may change, years may pass, but God never breaks his word. Second, don't let fear become louder than faith. The 10 spies focused on giants. Caleb focused on God. What you choose to focus on will shape the direction of your life. Finally, finish your race with faith. Many people start well, very few finish well. Caleb's greatest victory came at the end of his journey, not at the beginning. Your greatest testimony may still be ahead of you. Your greatest ministry may still be ahead of you. Your greatest blessing may still be ahead of you. So today, don't give up. Don't let disappointment steal your hope. Don't let delays destroy your faith. Stand on God's promises. Lift your eyes toward the mountain. And with the same courage that Caleb had, declare, Lord, give me this mountain. Because the God who made the promise is the God who will fulfill it. He was faithful then. He is faithful now. And he will remain faithful forever. Now give me this hill country that the Lord promised me that day. Joshua 14 verse 12. May this story encourage you to keep believing, keep trusting, and keep climbing the mountain God has placed before you. If this message strengthened your faith, remember to share it with someone who needs encouragement today. May God bless you, strengthen your heart, and remind you that his promises never fail. Amen.